The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into The Arena, multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 79. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly of Burly Gaming on Twitch, and Turn-Based Carl. How you guys doing? Burly, how you doing?
What's that? I can't hear you. No, I'm good. How are you?
That's because you went to that concert, yeah. So,
I still have a little ringing left in the right ear. It's not so bad, but I know by like end of day today or early tomorrow it'll be gone.
I
Can't wait.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Carl, how you doing, man?
Good, ready to go. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So today we've got a big slate for you. Of course, we're going to do our rapid fire of some of the news stories that happened this past week. Our topic of the show, we're going to be talking about open world games getting even bigger. I mean, is that a good thing or not? So we're going to talk about that. Of course, our new game releases and all. So we're going to be throwing that at you. And of course, our picks of the week, as well as the games that we've been playing and everything. But before we start talking about the games that we've been playing this past week, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they've been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, and the post-show, in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon in early access for one day after recording. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry Tier 1 level at $1 per month and get early access to every episode and post-show in audio and video formats, as well as watch or listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services. Weekly on Wednesdays for the post-show, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, Spotify, Amazon Music, and in video format on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at the Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at the Arena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys. This last week, I've been playing Guardians of the Galaxy, still loving it, having fun with it. And I have been playing more of Horizon Forbidden West. I've been going through the map and have been opening up all the regional areas that I didn't open up during the playthrough of the story. So I've just been going and, hacking all of the tall necks, basically, to get, all of the map opened up and things like that, and just, going around. Just playing with side stories and side quest stuff. That's about it for me. So I'll start with you, Carl. What have you been playing this past week?
Well, still working on Triangle Strategy.
Uh-huh.
I guess I talked about that last time briefly. I'll just say I am still really enjoying it. Story is really solid. Gameplay is fun. If you like this style of game, you should absolutely play this one.
Mm-hmm.
If you, let's say, aren't into this genre, I'm not going to say it's going to change your mind, because it's just that genre. Like if you don't, the turn-based strategy, like tactical RPG.
Right.
If you haven't tried one in a long time and maybe you want to give another one a go, yeah, I would definitely suggest playing this one because it's an example of some of the best in that genre. So check it out for sure.
Cool.
I tried Lost Judgment.
Yay! Finally,
there's a free play weekend on Xbox. And I jumped in, and I have not played this the first game, but I can tell you, I don't think it really matters. I mean, obviously, there's good stuff in it. You like those games.
Well, at the very beginning, they give you an overview of what happened in the first game anyway. So
yeah. So like, I feel like jumping into the beginning of that game, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Not that there isn't good stuff. What I'm saying is like I can understand these characters already. Okay. And they're good characters. I like the two of them so far. Yagami and Kaito.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, it's Yakuza for the most part.
Right.
I don't know if combat is that different. Like it feels pretty good. From I don't remember like the bit I played of the other game how different it is, but
yeah, you do get some different fighting styles throughout the game.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah, but.
It is very like beat 'em up, sort of button mashy. I feel.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I wish you had more moves to start. It's like I see like I can upgrade, and there's so many moves I can get. I'm like, this is cool. Like I was trying to jump off the wall and attack someone.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't happen. I'm like, well, I should be able to do that. And then I went to the upgrade. And I'm like, oh, that's like a thing you can buy. I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. Like I feel like I should have had at least a basic off the wall attack because you can jump off the wall, but then he can't do anything unless you pay for that attack. So like little things like that are weird about the way the combat system is.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot you can do at first, but I know that there's going to be a ton. So like
as you progress. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm doing the same, like, finishing animation, like repeatedly over and over, like throwing an object in the air and doing this really awesome flip kick and smashing it into his face. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. But I've seen it like, 10 times already, and I've barely played the game. So, and I gotta say, like, I got really frustrated with the tailing thing in the beginning. I'm assuming there's a lot of that in the game. I was just I didn't have the patience, and I failed it like 2 times early because I was like, I just don't want to. I'm like,
I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
So.
In the first game, there is quite a bit of tailing, but it's not like so over the top. Like that like it's not too much of it, but there is quite a bit.
You're not in every chapter. I mean, so
yeah. I feel like they didn't design the game specific. Like they took Yakuza and they made this game, and there's not really like the stealth is like fake stealth. Like you can't actually hide. Like there's no button to stealth to duck down. The game automatically, like when you go against something, it automatically hides you against the side of something, and even when you're doing the stealth segment, like you're automatically like crouching and stealthing. There's no like I'm not actively trying to do those things. You just kind of have to follow the path and do exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah.
So and you have to change one of the options in the game. And I did this in the other game too. The fixed map. You have to change that to like whatever the other options are, where it like adjusts based on the direction you're moving.
Oh yeah.
Because like the tailing with that, I'm like, where's my target? Okay, there he is on the map. And I'm like walking the wrong direction. I'm like, what the hell is like I can't figure out. So yeah, change that option. That'll make a big difference. But anyway, it's cool. Like it's well done, just like the other Yakuza games. And I feel like I would like this better. Like I would be more compelled to play this than like the Yakuza ones that I tried.
Now you're playing on Xbox, right, Carl?
Yeah,
Xbox, and it's like a free play weekend type of thing, or free play.
Yeah. So you can just play. I'm pretty sure I could play the entire game if I could get through it in this weekend.
Good luck. Good luck.
I'm not gonna even try. But
I wish you would, because I'm really interested in hearing what you think of the story. But So. Okay, let's get to you, Burly. What have you been playing, man?
I got a few different titles. We finished up. I finished up streaming Final Fantasy 1 on stream. It was a lot of fun to go back to that and just go back and re-experience where the series started. Beat that.
Wait, what was your party? I didn't watch a stream.
My party was Warrior, Monk, White Mage, Black Mage. That's the traditional party I go with because it's easy because you have high physical damage and you have high good magic. But like Final Fantasy 1, if you know what you're doing, you're fine.
Right, yeah.
Like I've never used the Thief class in that game. That's the one class I've just can't see a point to using because you do so little damage. And it's like the low level black magic when it becomes a ninja later in the game is like
it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Like the warrior in this playthrough, I didn't even turn when it became night, I just didn't even teach it white magic because at that point in the game, I had so much. Like my white mage has enough MP, and not to mention I had enough money. I just bought a bunch of high potions and just using those after battles.
Yeah, that game. I mean, obviously that game is unbalanced because it's old, and they didn't think about it. Like you could really just do fighter, white mage, black mage. Like the fighter is the best class for just regular damage versus the others.
But what other games have you been playing, Burly?
What other games I've been playing? I actually started up Lost Judgment.
Nice.
So I'm a good way through chapter 1 because as you know, those chapters take a while.
Yeah.
Like, I think the prologue itself is like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But it's been a lot of fun going back into this universe again and just seeing. And I like, even though I know Carl didn't like the tailing, they've added stuff to the tailing. They press triangle when you get caught, and Yagami's like, "Oh,
that wasn't in it before." Oh, thank you for adding that. Then, because that's good.
Yeah.
Now Carl's never going to try Judgment.
All right, so it's time to get to our weekly news beat. So kind of our I was
going to talk about Kirby for a quick
second. Oh, go ahead. Yes, please. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I ended up streaming and playing Kirby yesterday.
Nice.
That is a lot of fun. If you are a Kirby fan, I highly recommend picking this up.
And have you swallowed a drink machine yet?
Oh yeah, you do that in the second level.
Cool.
Yeah, I've done drink machine. I've done pipe. I've done an archway. I've done a fan. The mouthful mode is neat, but it's just like upgrading the powers. I've done only once, but that is just such a neat mechanic of taking the classic powers and that, I can upgrade them, make them stronger, or make the shots have a faster fire rate.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, when I saw that was in the game, I was like, okay, I like that because Kirby has always been like this very simple, just you grab a power, you use it once or twice, and you find the one that you like the most, and you kind of end up using that all the time. Yeah, upgrading sounds like it's cool. You'll feel like more inclined to try different things and see what you can change about them.
Okay. All right, so it's time to get to our weekly news beat stories. So kind of our rapid fire news story weekly review. So the first story we're going to talk about is the PlayStation acquisition, of course. Haven Studios is now a part of PlayStation. So PlayStation is acquiring them, and they will become the 18th studio to join PlayStation Studios family. So, of course, Jade Raymond, the head of Haven, and, she had some comments. She said, for example, we had the privilege, quote, "We had the privilege of working closely with the team at Haven Studios over the past year and have been extremely impressed with its growth and progress on its first project," which actually Herman Holtz, the head of PlayStation Studios, said regarding the acquisition. She says the studios, quote, "The studios focus on creating an original AAA multiplayer game will not only flex the power of PlayStation 5, but will further expand upon the diverse catalog of gaming experiences that can only be found on PlayStation." So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this acquisition? Carl, we'll start with you on this.
Yeah, I mean, you see why they were already aligned with PlayStation. This game that they're working on was already going to be exclusive. I don't know if it was full exclusive. Full exclusive, possibly. Could be like Death Stranding, situation. Jade Raymond is someone that has done some really good work in the past, but it's been a while. And granted, she kind of got screwed over doing, what was it, the EA Motive, right? She was with them, and that got that Star Wars thing that got canceled. And then she was with was it Stadia, Google?
Stadia, yeah. And she left
that
Stadia.
Didn't go well. Yeah.
She left Stadia to found Haven. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really hard to say what you're gonna get with her as the. Now she's an executive and a producer, right? She's not, as far as I know, a creative head of any sort on any of these games. So I don't know that you can expect any specific level of design from the studio yet. We don't know who else. I don't know if there's anybody else significant working at this studio in the design department. Yeah. And they're making they said AAA multiplayer. So for me, I don't doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, it says, and this is from IGN, of course, this new game is, quote, a new live service experience for PlayStation built upon a systemic and evolving world focused on delivering freedom, thrill, and playfulness, end quote, Raymond said. So, yeah.
Great.
Live service, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, all those words could be describing any number of games, and it's a live service. I just those things aren't really for me. I've always wanted to find one that was for me, but it has not happened yet.
Right. Of course, this follows Sony's announcement that it was acquiring Bungie, of course. So it looks like they're going on and acquiring more single studios rather than going for the bigger publishing companies. So I don't know, Burly, what do you think of this?
Yeah, well, Sony doesn't have the capital to buy a lot of things. I think they're just this and Bungie are just this way. We at least have some studios in the live market space. Yeah, because a lot of Sony, most people, if you think Sony, you're thinking they're big solo single player experiences. So I think they're just trying to be okay, we can get some live services studios. But it's also Sony doesn't, since they don't have the capital. Yeah, that Microsoft does. They're just going to buy smaller studios at this point. That just so that way you can get them on the cheap, and then they can have them locked in and create stuff for them.
Yeah. Okay.
But they say they wanted was it 10 live service games by what year? I don't remember the number.
2030 something.
They're on their way. They got 10, they're gonna buy a few more, right?
Yeah, maybe for the rest of this generation, maybe, who knows? But
I feel like they're look, one of these has got to be a hit, right? Come on.
By 2026 they want 10.
Yeah, 2026. Okay, yeah. So towards the end of the generation, 10,
So they have 10 in works.
Yeah.
So
they got this one. They got whatever Destiny's or Bungie's new project is. Yeah. They got Gran Turismo 7. Right. Do you want to count that?
Oh, that basically is a live service game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Next up, we're going to talk about, of course, The Witcher. Of course, this was probably, the least, surprising news bit from the week of new games that have been announced that are going to be coming in the future. It's everybody knew that this was going to happen. So The Witcher 4 is coming, but when? I mean, it could be a next generation game. We don't know, but CD Projekt Red has confirmed that a new Witcher game is currently in development and that it will use Unreal Engine 5. So while not much has been revealed about this upcoming game, the announcement did confirm that this new game will be quote, kicking off a new saga for the franchise and a new technology partnership with Epic Games, end quote. So no development time frame or release date were given, but CD Projekt Red did share a teaser image, which you can see here. And a lot of people were picking through this image to try to figure out what it was. So CD Projekt Red did state, however, that, quote, we are not planning on making the game exclusive to one storefront, end quote, despite working together with Epic. So anyway, we were just talking about 2026 for, these live service games for PlayStation and all, but I'd like to have 10 of them or whatever. I mean, I don't think we're going to see Witcher and Witcher 4. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's going to be Witcher 4 something, but I don't think we're going to see that until at least 2026. What do you guys think? Burly, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think?
Well, actually, they've released the title, Witcher 4, the live service experience, coming next year.
Oh, no. Exclusive to PlayStation, right?
And they're going to go off Todd Howard's philosophy. It doesn't matter how the game launches, it just matters when it's done. No, I don't think... I think this game's a while out. But I'm sure they probably, let's be honest, we know the when Cyberpunk released, and over that time they weren't putting their full manpower into Cyberpunk. You'd have to be a fool to think that. They were putting a good amount of people into The Witcher and just get back that up, because they know as soon as they announce a new Witcher game, that gives them a lot of buzz and gets people back more interested into them.
Yeah.
I think they probably have about a year, half a year to a year's development already in, but these are giant games. So it's probably gonna be about another 3 to 4 years before we see this.
Carl, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited. Witcher 3 was fantastic. I'd say, yeah, this is probably a few years out. I mean, they could surprise us, and it could be maybe 2025. You never know. I mean, they could be doing pre-production work already. Kind of like we know that Bethesda is doing pre-production work on Elder Scrolls 6 already. Plus, this isn't like Cyberpunk. That was a completely new franchise for them, and it was something that they had never done before.
Right.
They went to first person, and it was this big open world thing like that. So yeah, I mean, they could get it out quicker, being that they already have a framework of how these games play.
Yeah.
Besides that, like this new image here, that they're saying this is the Lynx.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be a specific character, or maybe we're going to be a custom character. I actually would really enjoy that a lot, because I do like Geralt. He's a great character, but
yeah,
they've done 3 games. I know most people didn't play 1 and 2, but yeah, they've done that character a lot.
Yeah.
And series an option too, but I think I would prefer, like, those characters can be in the game, and you interact with them. But I think it'd be great to build your own Witcher character and customize them, and obviously, like, you're gonna have to do the whole they have a voice work, and you get dialogue choices, and they will have those type of games where you can do that. And look, I think Cyberpunk shows that they have the capability to actually make a really good story and character with a custom build.
Yeah. Customization would be pretty cool. Could you just imagine them changing Geralt's face and then making it render it to Henry Cavill's face for the next Witcher game? Yeah.
I mean, they should at the very least have that as like an optional skin, because in Witcher 3 there were 2 skins that you could get. There was like extra downloadable free stuff they gave you for the characters.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, if they want to spark controversy, you say that. Yeah, we're look at the new Geralt, and it's Henry Cavill. It would just be that would get a lot of attention on the game.
Yeah,
not for the right reason though.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It's coming to console and PC. So I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer for all of you video viewers. So, but all of you audio listeners, we're going to describe the game here. So, Burly, can you take it away? So, Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed. Yes.
A new Ghostbusters game has been announced called Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It's a synchronous 4v1 multiplayer shooter where 4 Ghostbusters take on one player controlling the ghosts. The description reads, as a Ghostbuster, join in with other Ghostbusters to chase and trap ghosts in museums, prisons, hotels, and more, and capture ghosts before they can fully haunt the areas. Or as the ghost, hide, sneak, surprise, scare, and of course, slime Ghostbusters and civilian until everything has gone completely spooky. Use trickery, deception, and ectoplasm to gain the upper hand and drive the Ghostbusters out. And a note that for this trailer, it does feature the voice work from Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get Bill Murray because Bill Murray's probably grouchy.
So, Carl, what do you think of this?
I mean, it's a 4v1 multiplayer thing. I know it doesn't really interest me. But it looks nice. If you like those sort of games, it could be fun. This is which studio?
So same people did the Friday the 13th and all that.
Okay, right, and like the Predator thing. Yeah. I mean, they have some fun ideas. I actually played the Friday the 13th game. I think it was like a Games of Gold once, or something like that, and I jumped into it, and I thought it was fun. You know, for a little while, messing around with that. But this is very different. You know, each one of their games is very different, so can't really say that it's going to be anything I'm going to enjoy just because of that.
I see. Okay, next up, we got a delay this week, obviously. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League has been delayed to 2023. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Carl, I'll start with you. I mean, you were like in our Discord, you were like saying, oh, I knew it. Yeah, you threw us the link.
Yeah,
to it, so.
Obviously. I mean, they delayed. So they had to delay Gotham Knights and this game. And then they were the same year.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, well, you know, they're not going to release both of them, right? And they left that out there for a while, people thinking that. But I was like, they're never going to release both of these games the same year. Just not going to happen. Yeah. And we knew Gotham Knights was ahead. You know, we'd seen a significant chunk of gameplay on that. Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. Take your time. I mean, I'm not interested in this game because it honestly to me looks like it's another Avengers. You know, so yeah, just more shooting.
Yeah. Sefton Hill, the game's director, said on Twitter, quote, I know a delay is frustrating, but that time is going into making the best game we can, end quote. Quote, I look forward to bringing the chaos to Metropolis together. Thanks for your patience, end quote. So, Burly, what do you think of this delay?
Yeah, they need all the time they can. Let's be honest. All the resources they're putting into Gotham Knights, like they're putting more focus into Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy. That's what WB Games is really putting their time and effort into. Right. The Suicide Squad game, it's gotten a reaction, but it hasn't gotten the buzz as the other ones. And it's like, I liked Avengers, but like this is just every character has to have a gun. It's like, if I'm King Shark, the last thing I want to do, if I'm playing King Shark, I don't want to have a gun for him. I want to go up, tear things apart, bite them. Yeah. Kind of like in Marvel, like with the Hulk, just smashing everything. Yeah, so exactly. That's what I want to do. Like the only reason I would want to play this game if I could kill Superman.
Yeah.
Especially
but Burly, shooters are popular. Okay,
shooters are popular, and you can make a good shooter. It's the matter of does it fit for the character?
Doesn't matter, Burly. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
Look, they want to make a service game. No, I don't know if it's a service game. I feel like it's gonna be.
Oh, it's gonna be a service game. It's gonna be a service game, and this seems to just be like this is just like, hey, that shoot, what's James Gunn's The Suicide Squad was a good film, and that came out well. Let's tie off of that. Let's go off the bandwagon that was good.
Yeah, man. If I see loot in this game, I'm gonna be like, oh boy, no, I'm out. Let's stay away. I can't believe that this game might be that, and they must have looked at Avengers. They must be watching that whole situation unfold and have pivoted something about this game. I can't imagine.
The thing about this game, though, is we haven't seen any of it.
Yeah,
I mean, we've gotten really no gameplay at all of this game. I mean, that's the problem. Yeah,
there was video of what looked like gameplay.
What looked like gameplay, yeah, but we don't know for sure. I mean, whereas Gotham Knights, we've seen a lot of gameplay. And we know that game is probably going to be coming out, on the release date. But when this game was announced, we saw no trailer. When they had the other presentations, they just showed more trailers. They didn't show any gameplay. So that was the red flag right there of, okay, this game is going to be pushed back even farther. So,
look, it's a shooter because multiplayer melee games, like, it's really hard. It's really hard to do that right and be successful. There's not a lot of examples of that working.
Yeah.
I don't know. How does Ghost of Tsushima handle like multiplayer, melee combat?
Burly?
It handles it quite well because, like, when you're doing that, you can do the stealth kill, like you can do the stealth drops, but you're not always just doing things with your sword. You're doing them. You have your bow, and like you can use the kunai and stuff. And like, because like certain enemies are more weak to the bow,
right?
And stuff like that. So you're constantly changing up your weapons and stuff as you're playing the multiplayer in there.
Okay.
Yeah, because Avengers, like, I think the game plays well, but it's designed in a way that, like, you have to have this multiplayer, lots of enemies thrown at you, and, you're
go back to missions to get crap so you can
go do the bullet sponges and whatnot. And that that's not fun for melee. Bullet sponges are not generally fun, but it makes more sense for guns than it does for melee characters. Just beating the same guy.
When you're the Hulk and just clapping shit and it doesn't kill things instantly.
Exactly. Like if Avengers, if you take that same exact game, but the impact and damage that was happening to the enemies was that of like God of War, and you were just like, just destroying them in like with your epic, awesome animation attacks, the game would be amazing, phenomenal. You can't design it that way when you're doing multiplayer co-op.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's go ahead and jump to the topic of the week. So, we talked about open world games like a few episodes ago. We talked about our favorite open world games, and I saw an article this week, and I'm going to throw the link up here to the article so you guys can check it out later. Those of you that are watching in video format, it's from Kotaku, and it's interesting how the Game Developers Conference, there was a presentation given by Ubisoft, and they talk about this kind of a new engine that they're working on. And I'm going to read some of this for you. This is from Zach Zwiesen over at Kotaku. So, he's talking about as part of the preview of the GDC, Ubisoft revealed a new cloud-based technology it's developing. According to the Assassin's Creed publisher, this new tech, named Scalar, will allow its teams to create, quote, even bigger worlds than what's currently possible. So Ubisoft is threatening us with bigger games, even as it releases games that are arguably far too big already. So of course, Zach, he doesn't like this idea of having even bigger games. And he talks later on in the article about, I don't have much time to play all these huge open world games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and to see something like this to come out, it's just, you wouldn't have hardly any time to play these games. But anyway, he says, I like fancy new technology and software as much as the next person. And from a technical standpoint, Ubisoft's new Scalar system sounds cool, as reported by VentureBeat and GamesIndustry.biz. According to the publisher, the tech supports all platforms and can run various components of already existing Ubisoft game engines, such as AI or physics systems, in the cloud, offloading the work across, quote, a potentially unlimited number of machines, end quote, allowing the company to leverage essentially an, quote, infinite amount of computing power, end quote. It would also allow Ubisoft to update games and add content to them without having to push out specific platform patches. Ubisoft described a few different ways for how this immense increase in power could be used in video games, including future games being able to support huge numbers of online players at one time. Ubisoft also wants to create new types of games that would be free from having to rely on limited computing power, as is the case for most games today. So this Scalar that they're working on here, I mean, it's going to make even these massive open world games even bigger. So he goes on to say, quote, how do you reimagine what games should be and what they could be in the future, and then start to build towards that to create new experiences, end quote, said Patrick Bach, managing director for Ubisoft Stockholm, in a press briefing. Quote, because in general, games are usually an iteration of what it has done before. We want to break free of that and build something big, end quote. So Ubisoft keeps talking about building games that are big, as if it hasn't released well over a dozen giant open world games that take players months to clear. Perhaps Ubisoft doesn't consider those games to be, quote, big, end quote. But if that's the case, the author of this article says he's truly frightened by whatever Ubisoft will end up creating with this new Scalar tech. So what does Ubisoft consider a big game if Valhalla isn't already one itself? So what do you guys think of this article, and how do you feel about open world games, these large, huge, humongous worlds becoming even bigger and more vast? Carl, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think?
So I think the next Assassin's Creed is going to be like all of Europe, like the entire.
It could be
every country. No.
It could be, yeah.
Every city. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man, bigger. That's hard. That's hard to swallow there. You know, you gotta remember, like, the thing that makes these open worlds games great should be incredible locations within those big worlds.
Yeah.
And if you just make this vast open thing, but like nothing is that interesting in it, then what's the point? You know?
Right.
Why am I compelled to play in it? Why am I compelled? What's the compelling gameplay aspect of like just a vast open world? You know, there's got to be good stuff to do in it. And actually, like, I didn't play Elden Ring, but everything I hear people say about it is that the good thing about that open world is that there's always really interesting areas to discover, and they're all really well designed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'd ask you, Expat, because you played a lot more of the Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
But I do remember from Origins that there were some really nice locations and like places to have interesting encounters. But maybe there weren't a ton of them. I don't know how the newer games have handled that.
Well, the like Odyssey, obviously it was bigger, but the fact of these experiences, they were shorter, and they were like little side quests that you had to complete. But I mean, if you're just going around and exploring the world, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful locations, the island chains of the Mediterranean to look at, and then with Valhalla, I mean, obviously most of England at that time during the 9th century. So yeah, I mean, but you know, little side quest stuff here and there, you know, when it comes to, you know, some of the things you can actually do. But yeah, I mean, there are story elements to them and all, which makes the game much longer, and the story much longer as well. But
yeah, and so as far as like notable or memorable locations that had interesting gameplay in an Assassin's Creed game, right? Like you had, you know, like Assassin's Creed Unity I specifically remember the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yeah.
And when you have to do an omission or assassination there, and like that was
Yeah.
really interesting the way it was laid out, and the gameplay was, and the level design was really good. But I feel like maybe they're forgetting a lot of that in the newer Assassin's Creeds, and you got to be careful if you make a bigger world.
It's repetitive. It's very repetitive. That's the problem, I think. Yeah. So I mean, there's they're very beautiful like location settings, and of course. The Parthenon, of course, in Odyssey and all, and their assassination. I mean, missions that you have to go on there as well, but they're very repetitive. I mean, they just become more vast, as each game goes on. I mean, so I think Burly can attest to that as well, especially with Valhalla. Yeah.
Oh, Valhalla, in is some of the areas beautiful and nice, but the problem is. They're just all that is just giant places, and there are small things to do. But 9 times out of 10, it's the same kind of things you did in this area, but they just changed it a little. But it's just so boring, and they don't matter. It's like Valhalla, the story for the first couple hours, good. I actually liked it. But boy, does that story just take off, and they made that story so bloated and everything. I just remember I dropped down the difficulty just to get through the story quicker because I didn't want to grind as much and stuff, and I just wanted to get through the story, and the story still took me like 60-something hours. But doing all the overworld stuff, like you do feel a little more powerful, but it's not most 9 times out of 10 the rewards you get don't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. This is where if you're gonna do an open world game, you don't need to make them big. You can make a good open world that isn't massive. Big does not make better. Like I know I brought it up a million times, but Ghost of Tsushima, I did everything in that game because I had a lot of fun, and all the overworld stuff you did get made you better. And you got new abilities, and I did especially with those special quest lines to give you the hidden moves, the hidden techniques. You got those interesting stories and all that. That made it worth it to me.
Yeah.
The next Assassin's Creed, if it's going to be something like this, like a Valhalla again, but just bigger, I'm out. I'm not going to spend that.
Well, that's the question. I mean, how are gamers going to, how are they going to adapt to these type of games moving forward? And I mean, for the industry in general, I mean, if they start to incorporate a lot of this technology into the games that they're making, you're not going to see as many games come out. I mean, because it's going to take much longer for the development cycle for these types of games.
Yeah.
I mean, or they're just going to be using a computer thing to generate vast locations, and they'll be very obviously generated by a computer and not interesting. They might be pretty to look at, but that doesn't mean that there is good level design. You need a human behind it to design a level in a video game. And that's what a lot of these Assassin's Creed games, maybe in Far Cry, starting to be missing is did you design a specific area as a fun gaming experience in a level?
Yeah.
And I think that's what something like Jedi Fallen Order does way better than. It's not an open world game, obviously, but it's a wide linear game, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a semi open world.
Yeah. And the levels you can they're kind of defined as each area is a level, and the design is great. It feels good to look around those areas and find new things and figure out how to get to a certain spot and what abilities you have to use to get to the next area.
Right.
And you don't really get that in a lot of those type of open world games anymore. And they have to, they're going to forget that if they're making them even bigger, because how do you would take so much time to actually design every area to actually be a level like that.
So I just don't. I mean, you're probably going to see more people just scrap the idea of 100%ing or, the completionists out there. You're going to see less and less of those type of people because, these games get even vaster and larger than they are already. It's like, and with the games that are coming out, they're just not going to put in the time unless they're just diehard fans of that particular series. Like, for example, I love the Assassin's Creed games, obviously. So, I mean, I would probably put it, a lot of time into that and actually try to complete it, and not worry about, my wallet and having to buy a bunch of other games. And so, but
yeah, the Bethesda games do a good job of designing levels. The Elder Scrolls games have like interesting dungeons and places to go that feel like someone actually had their hands on this and like place things and set things up interestingly.
Right.
Fallout has those as well. Though I think you see it's a bit more difficult in that sort of setting because you're in like you're in buildings, you're in like sort of more modern structures. But they do a good job of making those interesting too, because everything's sort of broken and falling apart and like, the ones where like the tower, right? The high rise like apartments and you're making your way through it and things are broken. You have to find different ways. You have to climb on the outside or something to get to the next level. And the elevator is broken here or there. So you have to go a different way or, the ceiling's caved in. Those are very specifically and intricately designed. And that's great. I want more of that, not more of just big open go, yeah, it's great. I can, the crew too. Yeah, it's cool. I can drive across the entire United States, but like, what's there in between?
Yeah.
Just roads and roads and roads.
Yeah. And that's the difference between the Crew 2 and Forza Horizon 5 is that it's just, or that entire franchise is just much better designed, places to go and things to do in those worlds.
Right. Okay, so next up, I think it's time to talk about the new game releases for the week of March 28th through April 3rd. And so I'm going to go ahead and go first. I'm picking Crusader Kings this week. So
yeah, man.
Crusader Kings 3. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get for all of you video viewers, I'm going to go ahead and get the video started as I read the description of this. So let me go ahead and get it on here. So the security of a dynasty rests in the quality of its successors. An heir should be strong. An heir should be forward-thinking. Heirs should improve on the oversights of their predecessors. But the most successful heirs are those who build on an already secure foundation. Crusader Kings 3 is a sequel to the classic Paradox Development Studio game about medieval conquest, intrigue, religion, and high drama. It is a firm step in the direction of a new religion and of a generation of grand strategy games with new 3D character models and an even more detailed map designed to enhance the experience of Paradox veterans while being more welcoming to young squires. Crusader Kings 3 is a rich settling for an infinite number of new stories. So yeah. So Crusader Kings. So yeah, it's coming out on March 29th for PlayStation 4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. So yeah.
Crusader and into Kings. Game Pass.
Yes, that's right. And we're going to be talking about that later on. So, all right. Next up, Burly, what do you have for us?
I have Koromon. It's coming out Thursday, March 31st, coming to Mac, PC, and Switch. Koromon is a modern monster taming game with retro pixel art. Koromon brings an immersive storyline, strategic turn-based combat. There you go, Carl. And challenging puzzles to a classic game. But it's basically Pokemon. But the kind of thing is too. Yeah, they have a challenge road in Pokemon that people like to always do, and I've done many times, is the Nuzlocke runs. They have made it just an option at the beginning to turn it on, so you can turn it on. So you don't. It's less work you kind of have to do. They do certain things.
Let's see.
It looks cool. Yeah, I like the
random
the art.
Random.
Yeah. Titan Essences. Yeah.
There's good animations too. Probably better than Pokemon. So
there you go. Yeah. There you go. So March 31st, eh, Burly? Yeah. And for what platform? Just the Switch, right?
Well, Switch and PC.
And
Switch,
PC,
PC, and Mac. Who knows? Maybe Microsoft will buy it and it'll come to Game Pass.
Yeah. I mean, it could still come to Game Pass without them buying it. They honestly, this should be on Xbox and PlayStation because there's no competition for these type of games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it should, but I just don't think. I think they kind of just were like, if this is going to sell anywhere, this is mostly going to sell on Switch.
Yeah, but it's one of the. I understand. It could come to other things later.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Yes, it's your turn, Carl. What do you have for us?
I've chosen Weird West. Survive and unveil the mysteries of the Weird West through the intertwined destinies of its unusual heroes in an immersive sim from the co-creators of Dishonored and Prey. Discover a dark fantasy reimagining of the Wild West where lawmen and gunslingers share the frontier with fantastical creatures. Journey through the origin stories of a group of atypical heroes written into legend by the decisions you make in an unforgiving land. Each journey is unique and tailored to the actions taken, a series of high-stakes stories where everything counts and the world reacts to the choices you make. Form a posse or venture forth alone into an otherworldly confines. Sorry, that's weird. Written into an otherworldly confines of the Weird West and make each legend your own. I did not mess that up. That is the way it was written.
Otherworldly confines. I would.
Yeah,
imagine,
it says an otherworldly confines. Okay. This is an interesting looking game, and they call it an immersive sim.
I would say the art style is very Borderlands type. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Immersive sim is like that genre that I think doesn't exist. I think it's just a thing people say. I don't know what that actually means.
Like good modern Ubisoft open world.
This is the genre that is supposedly Dishonored, Prey, and Deathloop. That Arcane's basically Arcane games is immersive sims, and I don't know why that's called that and why this is called that. Simply because people who worked on those games are working on this. It looks like an action RPG to me. That's what it looks like.
When does it come out, Carl? What day?
Oh, yes. It comes out on March 31st, PC, PS4, Xbox One.
Okay.
And I guess spoiling it now, it is Game Pass.
Yeah.
It is one of our 2 games left over for the month, I guess, in Game Pass, which is Crusader Kings 3, March 29th, and Weird West, March 31st.
Okay. All right. And what games are going to be leaving Game Pass?
Leaving Game Pass.
Yeah.
What games can leave Game Pass?
Yeah, nothing leaves Game Pass. What are you talking about? Everything stays there in perpetuity. No, we have March 31st.
With the Borg, you're assimilated.
Yeah, March 31st. We have Madden NFL 20 leaving from EA Play. Narita Boy, Shadow Warrior 2. And on April 11th, announced already, leaving is Destiny 2, Beyond Light, Shadowkeep, and Forsaken. It actually says PC only, so I don't know.
Wow.
If that means the console. No, I think they left already on console. I don't remember. Anyway, it's Destiny. You probably bought it if you're a Destiny player.
Yeah, I think I definitely want to try that Weird West. It looks pretty cool. So yeah,
it
very
does,
kind of
really
like
does.
I said, like a Borderlands style, and it's just like a kind of a far out type of funky style. Yeah, pretty cool. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah,
to
the
it.
gameplay looks interesting too. It's a different style. It's like it's kind of isometric. Yeah, right. And action-y, like cool gun western. Special attacks and things. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Okay, so it's time to talk about, of course, our announcements. Obviously, of course, I'm going to be taking next week off, and so we're not going to be doing a morning show, Burly and I, next week. So our morning shows are going to be coming back on April 4th. That'll be Monday, April 4th. So we hope you can come and check us out then. And of course, our Picard season 2 episodes 4 and 5 will be recorded the first week of April as well. So stay tuned for those. But the regular podcast that we're doing, we're recording on Saturdays, episode 80, we will be doing next week on Saturday, which will go up, of course, in early access in audio and video format. So please, check out and, look out for those as well. And they will be going to free podcast services after the first day in early access. And then, of course, to our YouTube channel in video format. So stay tuned. And the regular podcast episodes will continue weekly on Saturday, but the morning show will come back on April 4th, Monday, April 4th. So stay tuned for those. So it's time to talk about what we're going to be playing actually for the next week. I'm still going to be continuing chugging along with Guardians of the Galaxy and more side quests and Horizon Forbidden West. What about you guys? Burly, I'll start with you. What are you going to be playing or streaming this upcoming week?
Oh, it's Kirby's my main game. I'm going to be streaming.
Kirby.
But
Okay.
yeah, I may be getting into Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise. I do have that as a sub goal. We're almost close to be meeting that.
Mhm.
So might be doing that. So look for some good action and some bad cheesy dialogue and writing.
There you go.
Cool. There you go. And Carl, what are you going to be playing and this coming week? Are you going to be continuing with Triangle Strategy?
Yeah, I foresee I'll probably be playing that the entire week. I don't know that I'm going to finish it yet. I think I got 30 something hours, maybe 35, somewhere in that range already into it.
Mm-hmm.
I found out something interesting about there's a new game plus, which these games often do have.
Cool.
And there's something interesting about that makes me kind of want to do it again. Like there's, to get certain characters, you have to have certain levels of conviction in the different categories, but you don't actually know what you have. It doesn't tell you. But in New Game Plus, apparently it does tell you.
Oh.
And I think maybe it lets you know which choices are giving you points in which. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So then I can actually know, I think it's just a kind of a help to you to figure out how to get the characters that you may have missed because you didn't have the conviction level. So that's interesting. And you can't get every character in one playthrough. It's not possible because there are multiple paths and there are choices you make that will prevent you from doing that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like to see where the other choices go. So, maybe I will just play more of that and never stop until May when the Warhammer Chaos Gate comes out. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, you
need the next game Carl's actually going to buy, or is that a?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Okay. That's a PC only. I think it's $45. Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Demon Hunter, sequel to a game from like the 90s, 1990 something, maybe. I don't know.
Just binge Lost Judgment this weekend so you can finish it up.
I don't know if that's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I want to try Tunic. I want to try Tunic.
Tunic is fun.
Yeah.
Put like an hour and a bit into it.
Nice.
It is fun.
I found out that there's like a God mode sort of thing you can turn on. Like you can't take damage, or you can turn off stamina. And I was like, okay. So if I really get stuck and I don't want to like bash my head against the wall, I can just move on type of thing. Cause it's one of those games where I don't know, I might spend too much time on one thing and just be like, I gotta move on. I gotta play something else. It's not for me like that. And then Weird West, I would like to try, but again, I don't think, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Crusader Kings 3, I already played, so great game. Played on PC.
Yeah, I want to play Weird West. I mean, I'll probably put an hour or two into it and see how it is. And the same with Tunic. I still want to try that as well. So, all right. So now it's time for our indie recording artist spotlight. So this week's spotlight is on Raquel Castro. Working across genres, Raquel Castro is an LA and New York City-based singer-songwriter with a versatile style. Throughout her musical career, she's recorded covers as well as released her own original music. From the title song of her album called Wait on Me. So this has been the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast, episode 79. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly Gaming on Twitch and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you all in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace out.
Centerfold, hard to hide it. Oh, on the walls, in the writing. If we stay, we're complacent. Too much time to be wasted. I don't wanna lie to you like this. I don't wanna fight with you like this. We gon' pay the price if we blinded. Oh, baby, don't you wait on me. 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 What if it's silver lining? Stars align in the silence. If we stay in the same place, we could lose what we came with. I don't wanna lie to you like this. I don't wanna fight with you like this. We gon' pay the price if we